that's really awesome because it's still so visually, it's beautiful. And if the loud noises are upsetting for you or the kiddos or maybe even a veteran, can still get involved.
For sure.
Follow-up question, what did Brian Burns take home from the fireworks?
That's a good
Let me go check his desk.
That's what I want to know, yeah. We're in, it feels like we're in the throes of a hurricane season right now, peak season, early September. But it's July 1st, and we're talking about a major Category 5 hurricane way ahead of schedule with respect to climatology. Typically, our first hurricane doesn't come in until August 11th, and then the first major hurricane not until the 1st of September. But here we are talking about Hurricane Beryl, a Category 5 hurricane. Chris over and done with, and then another wave in the footsteps of Beryl. This one has decreasing odds of development. Not terribly concerned about that at this point. Really, the primary feature is Beryl, 160 mile per hour winds gusting to nearly 200 miles per hour. Pressure is very low, 938 millibars. That's an extremely low number. The lower the pressure, the stronger the storm, and this thing's moving to the west-northwest, 22 miles per hour. Thankfully, it's going to be a bad storm, as it moves across the Caribbean, but the trend on this is to weaken as it approaches the Yucatan. There's going to be a brush in Hispaniola and Jamaica, Category 3 or 2 as it passes very close to Jamaica on Wednesday. And then again, a Cat 1 on approach to the Yucatan. And you see in the cone now more of a bend to the north than what was showing up in the prior updates. A tropical storm into Saturday evening as it gets closer to the Mexican coast. Lots of uncertainty in that part of the forecast, but the weakening in the Caribbean, that does look to happen. There's going to be some wind shear out ahead of this thing. That's going to be one of the reasons we see that lowering of category, and the other is that there is a lot of Saharan dust out there, and that's going to, it's going to basically give it a harder time. It's not just going to make it go poof and go away, but it's going to have to work through some of that drier air on its progression to the west. Spaghetti plot, very congruent, high confidence toward the Yucatan. Now we're starting to try and figure out, okay, as it approaches the Yucatan, is it going to be on the northern side of this envelope where it's just barely clipping the northern tip of the Yucatan Peninsula, or is it going to be farther south where maybe even you get Central America influencing the land there, the storm, and it crosses over a much larger section of the Yucatan. So there's still that in play as this moves over the Yucatan on Friday. And watch what happens to the spaghetti. Right now it's in the bag, spreads out all over the counter over the weekend. So a lot more uncertainty. You got some pretty reliable models well to the south. That's the European. Then you've got the GFS into South Texas, a couple of more Canadian up farther to the north. So there's a big spread there, very, in tune to what's going on. It's just there's not a lot of confidence here. And the reason for that spread has to do with the placement of the high. That getting out of here should allow for some northward movement. Just how much is still in question. The trend should be if it's a stronger system, it's more likely to bend to the north. If it's weaker, more likely to drift to the west-northwest toward Mexico. So these are going to be things that we really have to pay attention to. We've got a lot of time. It's not for another 6 or 7 days, that something, if it were to come this way, would be here. So how much land interaction does Beryl have with Central America or the Yucatan? Where is that high over the weekend and early next week? And right now, it's just the uncertainty is too high after it gets through the Yucatan. So there's no concrete answers I or really anyone else can give with respect to what this is going to do in terms of impacts for a location in the continental United States. Tomorrow, I wish it was just this easy. Around 80 in the morning, mid-90s in the afternoon, southeast breeze 5 to 15. Heat index way up, 110 or so. Less dust tomorrow and Wednesday, but more. Another batch comes in as we head into Thursday and Friday. That'll bring hazier skies. 4th of July, mid-90s, hot and humid. And do add in that little rain chance. That's just to acknowledge Beryl. Not really ready to say where it's going, but you know, we may have some moisture in there because of that, and that could lead to some rain. But Sunday, Monday, that'll be the time to watch with respect to what eventually happens with that storm.
Hey, we'll take the rain, for sure.
Well, that's not a for sure thing yet either.
See,
So,
even then.
Yeah.
But if we
We'll
had a
see.
choice, that would be it.
Ideally, I mean, you just want the rain without the wind, but we'll see how it
Exactly.
plays out. Yeah.
All right, Alan, thank you. When we come back,